Well, it's been a while since we've discussed this. The manga and anime industry under attack. It's been at war for quite some time. And, you have those out there that literally want to shut down the industry. You have people like in Disney and Hollywood, they want to shut it down to have control of it. So basically, they're because they've been losing a lot of money to this industry. Same thing with the comic book industry as well. Then you have those distractors that basically they're radical religious groups that disguise themselves as protectors of children,
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
which that's not what they're doing. They want to censor, repeat that, censor the internet. They want to censor our lives on what we're reading, we are educating ourselves with. We already seen what happened in California with Gavin Newsom, that basically he put that law into effect for memes and jokes and stuff like that, that's being censored on the internet. We'll probably see a Supreme Court hit on that because that is a total violation of First Amendment rights. Because it's not going to only hurt AI memes. You have to remember, anyone can make a meme. Anyone can produce, if they're good, if their voice is good enough, can mimic someone else's voice, like a celebrity or a politician. We've seen this for decades, even before the computer industry, the internet, and all that was into play. Go to Saturday Night Live and many other comic shows. People like Rich Little, who has done many political or actors and actresses, where he's copying their voice. He's done stand-up comedy and TV shows for that, mind you. Does that stop him from doing that now because of this law? Could be. Could be. But what we're going to talk about today is that you have a point where now they're going to hit the manga industry in the pocket. They've done this before with the content creators here on YouTube and many other sites. They've gone after them by, the payment processors, especially if we're doing like raising money on a particular site, whether it's PayPal, whether it's any other site that handles this situation, or you're raising donations from any of these donation sites that are out there, that basically they've had to bend the knee to the situation, and it's pissed everybody off. But you're not going to stop it. You're not going to stop it at all. You look at Rippa right now. He's got a good business going. Some good comics, good content. He's making the business on the indie comics circuit. He's bringing the comic book industry back into life. Because DC and Marvel are doing nothing to remedy that situation. They're getting killed by the manga industry. Because manga has good damn stories. But, they complain. They said, well, they got these stuff that looks like kids and stuff like that. It's caricatures. They're not real. Okay? They said, well, you got all these guys that, that basically... that they're P to the E to the D to the O, that they don't really look at freaking manga or anime. Trust me on that. They don't get off on that. What they're getting is, and I'll tell you this straight for a fact from the dark web, is they're actually getting videos. They're getting live videos to that situation. There is some creepy, I'll admit, there is some creepy stuff in the manga industry, but that's in every industry in entertainment. You're going to find it. It doesn't, even in the comic book industry. Walk into a comic book store these days. Look at the obscure titles that are out, that are in like the back of the store, or on if they have a second floor downstairs, in a section where most people don't go to. But XBiz recently just released this back on the 13th. And we're going to read a bit into this. Hat tip to Gustavo Turner for this. Japanese manga industry hit by credit card companies' anti-porn restrictions. Now, remember, before we went on, this is going to be groups like Morality and Media who are out there pushing for this. And I'm going to say this. There's need to be a massive investigation. Because what you're doing is you're doing torturous interference with a business, a legitimate business. Whether you like their business or not, they have the right to run their business, especially if they're in another country. Let's read into this. The immersed popular Japanese manga industry is reporting an increased pressure from the multinational credit card companies, many based in the U.S., and directly targeted by anti-porn crusaders by religious conservatives. It's from both sides. To censor their contents to maintain their current payment processing arrangements. A recent report by the financial news site Nike Asia noted that the manga retailers are now being told by payment service providers that they are infringing the rules established by American credit card brands. These are the same banks that are telling people, conservative, we don't want your business. If you work in a business that basically we do not like the porn business, we don't want you. If you are part of some political group, we don't want you. This has been going on for quite some time. And like I said, when will the trade regulators start to kick ass on this? Because this is a major issue. Let's read on. An executive from the retailer who spoke on the condition of anonymity said that they were told if they continue to use their card, they could face a penalty up to hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, Nike Asia reported. In a scenario familiar to many adult industry companies and creators, the processor passing on the information did not disclose what specific infringements were, forcing the retailers to guess which content was considered objectionable. In the end, according to the report, the retailer had no choice but to stop taking payments by overseas credit cards, even though that they was how the majority of their online payments were received. We have to reduce our platform's dependence on adult content, the executive told Nikkei Asia. If we want to expand our market, we better stick with the global standards. No, the thing about it is that this is what I'm telling you. World Economic Forum, all these groups that basically they want their way or the highway. You know, they want to control what the current viewer, reader, what they should be reading, what they should be watching, you know, what should be on the internet. This is total Nazi censorship. I'm telling you straight out. I'm going to say that. It is total censorship to this level. And people need to stand up and fight against it. And I know parts of Japan, they are fighting this. Although some sources requested anonymity, Nike Asia did identify popular out-of-print comics online source Manga Library Z as one of the sites that were asked to censor their offerings under penalty of losing their ability to process payments. Manga Library Z co-founder, manga artist Ken excuse me if I mispronounce this, Akamatsu, who is a legislator, explained that Japan's rich creative industry includes manga, anime, and games, was born out of its freedom of expression. And that's right. You got to remember one thing. Put it to this perspective. Manga and anime, these characters have been around for decades. Like the superhero one. Some of their superhero stuff dates back even prior to our own here in the U.S. He also noted that non-Japanese credit card companies are actively targeting manga alongside producers and distributors of porn known locally as AV video. The next request from credit card brands could be to ban novels or violent scenes altogether. Some say Japan should comply with the global standards, but if Japan content becomes too globalized and loses its unique charm, it will also lose its appeal and demand from overseas. And that's correct. Could you imagine if they start to which they have, which, in a way they have, censored Dragon Ball Z. What if they censor it even more? They've done it with Sailor Moon, they've done it with Dragon Ball Z, and a couple of others. I prefer my stuff, if it's action, fighting, it's bloody, I prefer it that way. I'm an adult. If I want it that way, that's the way I want it. I don't want a credit card company or a bank or a religious group, church, government to tell me what I should be reading, what should I be watching on television or on the internet. It's not their job to do that, especially the banks. Much like the U.S. and international counterparts, legal scholars and free speech activists in the country are invoking the chilling effect that these business practices can have on freedom of expression involving sexuality. It's not only sexuality, it's the content themselves. If you notice, they're not talking porn. They're not talking pornography on here. They're talking sexuality. They are talking about action, bloody violence, horror. This is what they're talking about. Because the one thing that always comes up, especially on age verification laws, is the terminology adult content. They've tried to rewrite that adult content means only pornography. The true expression that what adult content is that it is media, any content that is produced, whether it's a newspaper, whether it's a magazine, whether it's a videotape, DVD, so on, so on, so on, that's meant for someone 18 years and older. Let's finalize this article. If a certain genre of expression were to be taken down because of a potential harming card brand's reputation, that could lead to considerable intimidation in the realm of free expression, law professor Yoko Shina said. That's correct. And the thing about it is, what's happening here, and everyone should be afraid, is that, and this goes for your business as well, if you own a business, these groups are looking into these companies, who they're doing business with. Unless it's something illegal, it should be no one's business who MasterCard, Visa, Bank of America, Citibank, who they do business with. If they're doing business with a manga industry company, whether it's Viz, whether it's Crunchyroll, or any other company, whether it's U.S. based or if it's overseas based, Korea, Japan, it's none of their business. We have places like Australia that was banning. They were banning like freaking the collectibles. They were banning collectibles from anime and manga. They weren't allowed to be shipped into Australia. I think some of it's able to get in now. But then also they started banning certain mangas, certain anime. Same thing in Russia. Same thing in many other countries. See, the thing is, the overhanded itself that basically these people have. And this goes back decades. They've been doing this for decades, especially morality and media. Morality and media has gone after Cosmopolitan. They've gone on to Sports Illustrated. They've gone after George Carlin and many others. They've gone after many websites like Pornhub. Saying, they got all these things on there and all that. But they're not going after Facebook. They're not going after Instagram, they've been known websites that have had a lot of cheese pizza on their sites. And the reason we know this is from organizations that keep track of this on there. And they're saying, well, we're doing the best we can. It is a hard thing to remove. But when you blatantly see that it's up there and many other things that shouldn't be there, that technically violates the law, you wonder what's going on their end. But the thing about it is, you got to remember, I recall a horror film that for some time it was banned in certain places. because they say it's grotesque, it's bloody, the decapitations and all that. Do you know what movie that was? That was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I'm talking the original, the Tobe Hooper original. If anyone has ever seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, it is a brilliant film. The way it was shot, the way that, technically, very minimal gore. Very minimal. It is how it is perceived to the way it's shot. And I learned this when I was in broadcast school. One of my teachers he worked for Paramount Pictures Films, as a sort of a representative to keep track of what was going on the set of the movie Friday the 13th. And he would show me scenes. We went through this one time and we sat through it. And I tried to do a documentary many years ago on that. And I think I still have some of that footage. In fact, that interview with him. And he explains, and this is the same thing with Hitchcock. He explained that, to shock people in a horror film, you don't necessarily have to have gore. You don't necessarily, have to throw an axe in someone's face or something like that. Sometimes it's just the littlest thing of silence and precise camera movement. And there was a bit of an error in the movie, the Friday the 13th, and I'll put it out to this, that there's a scene where I forgot which actress it was. She's walking along the cabin wall, and she's coming up a window. The camera was moved a little bit over, even though there was a shock where the body comes through the window. He said if it was more to the right a bit, it would have had a bigger shock. But that's also what Hitchcock said. You could have a scene where you're sitting talking with someone about baseball, and suddenly a bomb goes off and killing everyone, and it gives everyone a few seconds shock. And then you take the same scene again, but you tell people there's a bomb here. What are people doing in the audience? Get rid of the bomb. The reason I say this is the exact thing that most of these people, these anti-religion, these anti-porn groups, these anti-manga, the adult content groups, that these are radicals that basically they don't understand. I remember a protest for The Last Temptation of Christ because they said, "Oh, it's sacrilegious. Christ shouldn't have been married," and stuff like that. Did you understand what the title of the movie is? The Last Temptation of Christ. They protested a movie that was really good about Jesus being tempted by the last time before his death, to be tempted by the devil to come off the cross. He would have a regular happy life on there, and the devil showed him what it would be. That was the temptation. People didn't understand that. And this is what happened. People don't understand a lot of this content that is out there. I think everything is either ultra violent and porn. I mean, there is violent stuff on some of this stuff on anime, but some people do like that. But there's some other stuff that's okay. It's sexy, some good action, but the old saying, sex sells. You ain't gonna go there and watch some crazy stuff that just basically is completely boring. We learned that from The Acolyte. People didn't like it. It was awful. It was terribly written. It had nothing to do with the actors, actresses, or what color the skin they have or anything like that. It had to do with that it was politically written. This is what they want to do. When you start to write like that in Hollywood, you become propagandists. You're not becoming art. You're not artists. As Quentin Tarantino has said in many interviews, you're not seeing the artist in a movie making. You're seeing the propagandist, because that's what it is. You don't see good shows. You have stuff like Tulsa King, really good show. But then you have The Acolyte, which is a horrible show. Why does one writer have some of the Taylor Sheridan have about 5 or 6 of the best shows on television right now, and most of it are westerns. Tell me that. And it's the same thing with anime. You have a lot of anime and manga creators that have created multiple shows, multiple movies, and people keep coming back for it. Why? Because it's good content. But straight out, this is plain censorship from the credit card companies. So comment below. Let me know your thoughts about this. Really, truly. Let me know. Tell me, is this censorship or is this something else? Let me know there in the comments. Don't forget to like, share this video, because we do appreciate it. That when you share these videos, we want to make sure everybody gets to see this. And don't forget, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet on any of our social media platforms, please do now. We do appreciate it. We do appreciate you coming and clicking on this video, because you have thousands and thousands of choices to watch on YouTube and Rumble and many other places that we're available at. And we're glad that you've come here to take a moment to listen to what I have to say about things that are going on. So until next time, thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye now.